Hey guys, Owen here with Seek Outside. Today I want to show you how to make a floor for your floorless shelter. Today we're going to be using some Tyvek mats, specifically Seek Outside Fearlessly Floorless ground sheets. We're going to have a little bit of duct tape. I recommend using pretty wide stuff, so we have some Gorilla Tape here. Scissors and a tape measure. We're going to be doing this on the Seek Outside Cimarron. The first thing we want to do is take some measurements here with this tape measure. Depending on how tight you want the floor, if you want it to match every angle, then you're going to have to take a lot more measurements. In the case of the Cimarron, it is a rectangular shelter, so I'm just going to measure a rectangle for this. The Tyvek mats are 36 inches wide each, and they're about 8 feet long. So that should give us a pretty nice floor here on the Cimarron. You can also check the website at Seek Outside for dimensions on the TP, but it's best to just get some measurements. So I'm going to measure two ways. I'm going to measure the length and width because I'm just creating a rectangular floor here. So I'm going to measure from door to door on this shelter, which I'll just take a pretty rough estimate. Door to door is about 9 feet and 6 inches, so about 9.5 feet. I'm going to just use the 8-foot floor for this, so it's going to be just a little bit short, but effectively I'm not going to be using all of the being close to the sides here. And then when I measure inside as far as width, give me a second here. Going to measure width from stake in the center all the way across, and that's going to be 11 foot 4 inches. So we're going to take some measurements here real quick and see how many pieces of Tyvek we need. Another way to measure for your floor, if you don't want it to cover every single square inch of this tent, is to measure this rectangle. So I'm going to measure from this stake to the opposing stake. So that's shorter than the zipper to zipper, which is going to give me 8 foot 4 inches. So these mats are 8 foot long, so that should be plenty fine. And then I'm also going to measure from this stake point to this stake point, and that's going to give me just a simple rectangle. When I measure that, that's about 9 feet, give or take. So 3 of these Tyvek mats are going to work for my rectangle here. So what I've done, it did get windy outside, so I brought it inside the garage. You could do this inside your house, wherever there's less wind, because these are very light. I'm going to take this tape, again, this is pretty wide tape, which definitely helps. And I'm going to just connect these seams together, and I'm going to do it on the top and the bottom. So just do a rough measurement here, not pick up the mat. Do a rough measurement, get them close end to end, and then just start laying your tape down. So once you get the tape started, it's all going to become a lot easier. There we go. Just going to continue to lay this tape down the best I can. Sometimes it is better to pull your own individual strip before you do this, because then you'll pull the mat around less. Just make sure everything is good here. And then pat it down. And then just go ahead and rip your piece of tape. You can even fold it underneath to make it easier for the other side. What I like to do from here is I'll make sure to pat it down, really as easy as just kind of walking on it. Make sure everything's stuck pretty well. Again, this doesn't need to be a perfect process. And then it becomes a lot easier because now I can just flip it over Do the exact same thing to the other side. If you can, try and remove whatever dirt is on there. It's almost probably better to do it inside of your house so there's less dirt. Try and remove some dirt. And we're just gonna do this over again. Then, same thing, walk on it. And there you go, there's 2 pieces connected. So what we're gonna do now is just connect the 3rd piece and go from there. Walk on it, and we're pretty much set. For your center pole and or poles, depending on which tent you have, you can either cut a hole or put duct tape down as your little spot. I prefer cutting the hole because it has less stress on the fabric. Pretty simply, you can just measure center to center here. So 107 inches, we're gonna divide that in half. That's 53.5 inches. If my math's correct here, I'm just gonna paste a little piece of tape right there at 53.5. And then I'm going to measure the other way and try and find center. We'll go from here. To there, which is 92 inches. Half of that is going to be 46. So when I leave this here, I come and find 46. I'm gonna just mark here with a small cut. Right there is gonna be where the center pole goes. From our center cut, which we have right here, it might be hard to see on camera, I'm gonna make roughly a 5-inch hole. Again, this doesn't have to be an exact science. I can cut, I guess it'll be a 10-inch diameter, 5 radius. So I can cut from, if these scissors are good, I can cut to there, and then I guess I'll go from 10, make an incision there, cut to there, and do the same thing this way. So 5 from center, I'm gonna cut to there, and then to 10. Not an exact science. And then you can either leave this hole, or you can just kind of cut it out. In this case, I'm just gonna cut it out for that hole. Again, does not need to be beautiful. It's a floor, you're gonna beat it up over time with rocks and everything. So that right there is my center pole hole. For extra longevity, you could tape around this hole. This Tyvek doesn't rip too easily, but you could just do a line of tape around here to stop any rips, which I'm gonna do because I'm planning on using this in the backcountry quite a bit. I'm just gonna kind of go around this hole like so, and one more across. Clap that down, and you should have that pretty protected. You can flip it over like so. And you could just tape around the backside. I'm just gonna try and flip over most of this because I don't want to waste a bunch of tape. And that right there is a start. So we are basically done with the floor. Now it's just to get that final fit. Now that we've designed and taped our floor, it's time to put it in the shelter. I know that the long strips go towards the door. So I'm going to start by going in here. And I'm going to reduce my pole and find my center hole and align it in the center of the shelter. From there, all we have to do is spread our floor out. And then there we have it. We have a floor for our Cimarron. It covers 95% of the space in the tent. So now you can keep your stuff off the dirt really easily for quite a cheap price. So that's how you make a floor for any tent. A lot of it's just measuring and having the right material and some patience. This whole project took us maybe 30 minutes. Just pitched the tent in the yard, took some measurements, went to the garage and taped it all up. You can find Tyvek for really cheap in some places. You can also, like if you work construction or have a buddy who works construction and they have anything left over, you can borrow some of that as well. So it's a really simple, easy process. You aren't really ripping up anything too expensive, which is nice. So not calling it disposable, but you know, over time, any kind of floor gets ripped up. So having something that's cheap like this, again, this project cost me $60 to do on this tent, and I can sleep 2 or 3 guys in here with 0 issue. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and you have an amazing day.